on. I know you got some questions.
Right at the back, sir.
Richlite versus ebony and why?
Okay. Richlite versus ebony and why. First, let me explain what Richlite is. If I can get one of my colleagues to bring a guitar up that has Richlite, like the LX1, that would be great. Sinlong, the LX1 is great. Okay, ebony is great for the fingerboard and bridge, as I said, because of its density. Now, one of the problems that ebony provides us with, in addition to its high cost and rarity, is that it is very fickle. Doesn't like a lot of temperature changes, doesn't like a lot of humidity changes, doesn't like high humidity, no humidity. Very fickle, very, very fickle. We needed to find something on our affordable X-Series guitars, like this, when Ed Sheeran started playing, that would act like ebony in its density. So what we decided to do, because the HPL was our wood byproduct, we took some wood fiber and compressed it so it became quite dense. And then we put black dye in it. And we found that it was more dense than ebony, but lighter in weight. So, bless you, it became a fantastic alternative to ebony and much, much cheaper. Plus, we were using our waste wood, which was a win-win. I can tell you that Richlite, actually, if we had the courage, we should be using it on everything, because it's so good. We won't. We'll still go with ebony on the standard series, but it is a fantastic, stable, it's great for here also. Very stable, very dense, and gives you the sustain that you need. Thanks for the question, great question.
Right at the back, the gentleman in the black t-shirt.
In the olden days, the Martin guitar for life, and you told me that it's still guaranteed in the USA.
Yes. Okay, this gentleman is referring to the warranty. If you buy a Martin guitar in the United States, you get a lifetime guarantee. If something goes wrong, you cannot get it fixed in Singapore or Paris. You have to go back to where you bought it in the United States. Now, this brings up two things for me personally. One is, I love to support the local distributor and dealer. First of all, City Music is very unique in that when you buy a Martin guitar from City Music, they will very carefully look after it. You have a huge challenge in Singapore that you have 95% humidity, 365 days a year. That is very challenging for a wood instrument. You need to always keep it in the case. Don't hang it on the wall. That's a nice idea, but that's not good care. Keep it in the case, in a room that's pretty stable. Of course, if you can keep it in a room where the humidity is as low as possible. The factory's climate controlled, 45% humidity, 20 degrees Celsius. So that's the first thing. I like to support the local people. But City Music does one step better. They'll say, come back in a couple months, we'll check it, we'll make sure the action's right, we'll take care of you, and we'll take care of your guitar. The other thing, and this is absolutely true, and anybody who has a Martin guitar can tell you this, they're handmade. You can have two D28s, one serial number apart, and they'll sound completely different. You go into City Music that has the most amazing selection of Martin guitars in Asia, for my money. You fall in love with the Martin guitar, that's the one you should buy, the one you're falling in love with.
Okay, regarding the pickups for the electric type, so normally you sell, what are the pickups that you guys use?
Okay. The gentleman asked about pickups. Pickup technology is pretty fascinating. A guy named Larry Fishman, about 30 years ago, you've heard of Fishman pickups. Larry Fishman, 30 years ago, was an upright jazz bass player. And he also has a degree in physics, And he came up with an idea to make a pickup for his upright bass using piezo crystals. Piezo crystals are little ceramic crystals. They're called piezo crystals because piezo is Greek and Italian for pressure. When you hit the crystal, it emits an electrical charge. So Larry put the ceramic crystals underneath each string and a piece of graphite under the bass. It made an electrical charge. He was able to amplify his acoustic bass. Somebody said, Larry, you should try making that for an acoustic guitar, and you should call Chris Martin. And that's what he did. And he took 6 crystals, put it in a piece of graphite, and put each of those, lined it up so that each crystal was under each bridge pin. So that when you played the string, it hit the crystal, that's the piezo pickup technology. So we use mostly Fishman electronics. The Aura technology from Fishman is kind of mind-blowing. It's fantastic. And the really cool thing about the onboard Aura system is that any Martin guitar that you try that has the onboard Aura system, it's specific to that model. We don't use one Aura system on all the guitars.
I have a question also. Some people use acoustic, they will have an additional pickup when they put on the those area.
Yeah.
So is there any care or anything, or it's not necessary at all?
Yeah. No, you don't need, if you have an onboard Aura system, that's all you need. You don't need you don't even need any kind of processor. You just go right into the amp or the board. Those sound hole pickups are magnetic pickups, and they give a very different sound. They almost sound like a hollow body guitar and not an acoustic guitar. So, by the way, when you look around at the guitars we've brought here, there's one guitar back there called a Retro. The Retro series takes this Aura technology a quantum leap further because the Retro series are actually we have 6 models now of old style Martin guitars, an OM28, a D18. They look from the outside like the old ones, but it's got the fast neck, and the images that were recorded to put on those guitars are not that guitar. We went to the museum and we took our original OM28, our original D18, our original D28, and we have these in the museum, like $1 million worth of guitars. We sent them up to Larry, and he mic'd them with vintage microphones. The Retro series is jaw-dropping, jaw-dropping. But remember, most of the time you're playing a guitar, you're not playing through a Marshall stack at home, you're playing acoustic. The key is getting a guitar that's going to sound fantastic 11 o'clock at night in the kitchen. Don't worry about the pickup so much,
Because of
The thing is, if it sounds great acoustically, it's going to sound amazing with a pickup. You have to be happy. People say to me, which guitar should I choose? First of all, you don't choose the guitar chooses you. That's the first thing. And they say, oh, what kind of guitar should I buy? I go, how many do you want to buy? Because if you want to buy 4 or 5 guitars in your life, you go into a store and you buy one for about $300. That's how we all start. That was my first guitar. It was a GLO. You know what that is? Guitar looking object. Okay? Okay, so then you start to play and you go, man, this is fun. And then you realize that you have a GLO and that you could get a better sound. So you go back to the store and you upgrade. Now you go $500. You got something now that you really feel good about, right? And you start playing with other people. And somebody shows up with a really nice guitar. And you go, wow. So then you save up, and then now you're up to almost $1,000. You get another one. And then you hear a Martin guitar. I could have saved you so much money. Go for it. You'll never be sorry. Never. Right? Right?
other than cost, is there any reason why marking guitars are still using plastic bridge pins?
Yes. The reason why we're using plastic bridge pins is because the original bridge pins were made out of ivory. And we don't want to do that anymore. It's illegal.
Why not wood then? Like wooden bridge pins, like rosewood, ebony?
We've tried that. And sometimes on some models we do that. And sometimes we use bone. We use bone saddles and nuts now. Calf bone from a cow. And I knew a guitar player in England named Martin Carthy. He used to use brass bridge pins for the treble, you know. We find that because the way we design the bridge, that they work the best in keeping the string in place and wear away nicely. But it, you know, it would be a fortune for us to do something like, you know, it's illegal ivory anyway, so that's the answer.
So is it true that they also affect your tone in a sense? Like
I don't think so. I do not think so. I think what affects the tone is the string, and you know, keeping a decent set of strings on it. Like I meet a lot of people who have Martin guitars, and like I'll never forget. I met this guy. He goes, it was somewhere in America. He goes, Diane, you want to see my old D28? I said, I'd love to. He says, well, come on over here. And open the case. Open the case. Handed me this incredible D28 from the 1950s, and the strings had a beard on them. And I said, what's up with these strings, man? He goes, yeah, they're original.
That's pretty funny, Diane.
Yes.
You have a lot of models on the performance series.
Yes.
Could you tell me very quickly what they are and how one should choose?
Okay, great. This gentleman was asking about the Performing Artist Series. This was the first attempt. So this was all the bells and whistles. So this is sort of the premier edition. In fact, we have one here that's made out of Madagascar rosewood. Yeah, it's gorgeous. Yeah, you drool. Give me your credit card and you can stop drooling. Okay. The Performing Artist Series comes in 3 shapes. This grand performance shape, which is very balanced. A smaller shape, an orchestra model, and a dreadnought. They all share the same features: deep cutaway, fast neck, separation of the end pin jack and the strap button. This happens to be a really great playing guitar. I don't know if you can see this, but there's a little line of ebony inlaid underneath the position dots to make them kind of jump out. The fast neck is great. This has gold-plated tuners, beautiful inlays, ebony, spruce, rosewood, gorgeous wood binding on this. It's a pretty spectacular looking instrument. It sounds great acoustically, and it's loaded up with that incredible system that with the 9 microphones. We started to then think about how can we offer this guitar in various finishes and also in various woods to make it more reachable for people who couldn't afford the gloss. So we have a wonderful series called the PA, Performing Artists 4 series. And that's what he was playing. He was playing, it was a GP, wasn't it? A GPC, a Grand Performance Cutaway PA4. That was a spruce top with a gloss finish, back and sides mahogany with a satin finish, and a very simple analog pickup, not with the microphones, very simple. And you could probably buy 2 of those for the price of that. We also make it out of high pressure laminate, which is even less expensive. So it's not a solid wood back guitar, and it's got a Stratobond neck, which is layers of wood glued together, very strong neck, but a solid quarter sawn spruce top. So there are various materials we use, but the basic template is the same, the size and the playing features. What changes is the ornamentation, the woods, the finish, and certainly the electronics.
You mentioned that you build a guitar. The different models have very distinctively different tones.
Absolutely, they do. Look, you know, when you buy a car and you go, okay, I want to buy a car. I don't want to spend too much money, but I want anti-lock brakes, heated seats, stereo change, sunroof. You get what you pay for, What I can tell you is no matter what Martin guitar you buy at any price range, if it has that name on it, you know it's going to have great sound and it's going to be incredibly well made. That's the real magic of these instruments. Yes, sir.
Do you make your own truss rods?
Yeah, the truss rods, in case anybody doesn't know what a truss rod is, in the middle of the neck of a Martin guitar is a steel rod, and it's called a truss rod, and it reinforces so the neck doesn't move so much. As a matter of fact, we used to build our guitars so stiffly that up until the 80s, we didn't have an adjustable truss rod. Now we do have an adjustable truss rod. We don't make anything that's metal. We import, not import, but have to buy from a vendor fret wire, tuning gears, and truss rods. Anything wood we make, anything metal, we gotta buy. Yes?
What does Martin do to those guitar that doesn't sound right before leaving the factory?
We don't have a guitar that doesn't sound right that leaves the factory. Because if it doesn't sound right, it doesn't leave the factory.
Destroy them or?
We have, I think the last time I heard, we have two or three guitars a year, 2 or 3 a year, that we have to destroy because we just can't get it right. It's awesome. Yeah. But if you do each job perfectly, it's probably going to work out, And that's the mentality. It's nice.
So do you call yourself luthiers?
Say it again?
Do you call yourself luthiers?
Yeah, they call themselves guitar builders back there. Luthier is yeah, it's the difference between a cook and a chef. I just want to eat good food. By the way, the food in this country is wonderful. Yeah.
Can you tell us a bit about the use of hide glue?
Yes, I'd love to tell you about hide glue. Okay, hide glue, this is animal rights again. Hide glue is glue derived from basically horses, okay? And up until I think it was around the 1930s and 40s, Martin used hide glue exclusively. And then because of perhaps the more conscious feeling about not using animal products and making a guitar and the availability of water-soluble wood glues, we switched. We switched to an international wood glue. Now, all the guitar nerds of the world have said, well, hide glue is the thing. So now, on some of our custom instruments and all the authentic series are made exclusively with hide glue. And the theory is hide glue, the adhesion is more complete. I don't know. This is like the bridge pin question. As long as it stays together, I don't really care. But hide glue is really, one of these holy grail aspects right now. So we are using it on some, and you can custom order guitar made with hide glue.
We know there's a
Dennis, nice to see you.
Thank you. We know that there's a custom guitar available on order on Martin's website. Can you tell us a little bit more about custom orders?
Okay, what Thomas is referring to is on the Martin website, you can actually be a chef and cook up your own Martin guitar. We can do mostly anything short of a flying V acoustic, you know what I mean? For example, let's say you love a D28, but you would love it so much more if it had a slotted headstock. Or let's say, you want to feel as important as some of these artists and have your signature inlaid on the 14th fret in pearl. Or you want, I don't know, whatever you feel like you can cook up that you've always dreamt about. We can do it for you. You cook it up on the website, and then you come into City Music, and they get the quote for you. And they will work with you because they will know how to order it to save you money. Because if you have to know what model to start with, actually, to get the best value. So they're really good at that. So that's a good question. Yes?
I don't see Martin making any nylon string guitars.
We make, yes. Well, first of all, there is one very famous person who plays a nylon string guitar. That's right, Willie Nelson. He plays what we call an N20. I think we make 3 a year. We're not known for classical guitars. The reason is the bracing. We are good at X bracing, and X bracing sounds terrible on classical guitars. Really doesn't sound good. But we did make a modern nylon string guitar with a cutaway and the Fishman analog system. It's really cool. It has a sort of a hybrid lattice X brace, but it doesn't sound like a classical guitar because classical guitarists will not play with a cutaway. That's like a no-no. So we can't compete with those kind of finicky. We're really good at steel string, but we do have a really nice, and there's one at City Music if you want to try it. Yes.
How many guitars do you have and how many guitars do Jack have?
Well, I'll answer for myself, of course, because I don't know how many Jack has, but I'm allowed to buy one Martin guitar a year at cost. I don't buy one every year, but because I can't afford it really. But I do have the ukulele's mine, and that ukulele retails for almost $3,000. It's handmade. It's just like a little guitar. Just because it's little doesn't mean it's made the same way. Yeah. I have about 8 Martin guitars. I live in a place in New York City. My house in New York City is the size of your car. The bed comes down from the wall like this, I say to people I can make a cup of tea, answer the phone, and have a shower and not move. But I have a special shelf over the doorway, and all the guitars are lined up.
I have seven acoustic guitars, and the 8th one is a Little Martin, and 5 electrics. But after today, maybe I might have 1 new Martin. We'll see.
One of the guitars chose him tonight.
We were having the conversation back there just now, so yeah.
That's great. How about 3 more questions?
3 more. Okay.
How low can the saddle go without compromising the tone?
How low can the saddle go without compromising the tone? Because first of all, don't do those kinds of adjustments yourself. Bring it to somebody who knows what they're doing, like Albert over here, your dad. If you go to town on a saddle, you'll know it's not good because it starts to buzz, basically. This is a good opportunity for me to encourage all of you to not be so quick to bring the action so low. The acoustic guitar is a little bit of work to play. It's not an electric guitar. But the rewards are fantastic because you get great tone. I'm not saying it should be uncomfortable, but not as low as an electric guitar. It's not the same instrument. You want to drive, that tension is good. It drives the top and gives you great sound, okay? The most important thing on any acoustic guitar that you have especially in Singapore, take care of it. Store it in a place that is as stable as possible in terms of humidity. Yes?
Are the cheaper ones handmade too? What was that?
Are the cheaper ones? Did you say the cheaper ones, are they handmade too?
We don't have cheap guitars.
Just about to say that.
We have affordable guitars. The affordable Martin guitars are also handmade. Even the ones that we make in our Mexican facility, they have hands in Mexico too.
I think the last question, I'll give it to the gentleman sitting at the corner. Yes, you sir. You had a question to ask just now.
On your website, Mark says the strings you recommend medium gauge, okay?
For certain models.
Okay, D41, right? And I borrowed the D41, and so I thought, well, I'll try that gauge. I'm normally used to playing a little bit lighter gauge, and I was wondering the effect with the lower gauge or a higher gauge versus a medium gauge.
Okay.
How's that?
Great gauge question. Okay, this gentleman is talking about a D41, which is a dreadnought, and on the website, Martin will recommend for such a big body guitar, you could use medium strings, which is 13 gauge. Of course, personally, I always use 12s, because I like 12s better, they're not as beefy. But if you're strumming a lot, and most people who buy a dreadnought are strumming, the 13 gives you a little bit more beef. It's fine if you use 12s. 11s would be really too light, I think, on a dreadnought, because it's too big a body. You just wouldn't get enough tone out of it, I think. Probably could, but I would go with 12s or 13s. Nothing heavier than that, because your guitar is scallop braced. So you're not going to do a 15 on me, are you? That's yeah. Nobody makes anything heavier than 13s anymore. Anyway. So we're done with the question.
Yes, I believe
unless
that.
anybody has a burning. Does anybody have a burning question that they have to ask and they're not going to sleep tonight if they don't ask it? Yes.
For every guitar you produce, how long does it go through the quality check before you leave the factory?
Okay, that's great. The quality check actually happens after every task is done. So it doesn't go to the next station until somebody comes and signs off on the quality of that job. Then, when the guitar is absolutely finished and goes through final inspection, we put it on a shelf for 2 weeks so that it can settle into being a guitar instead of a tree. And then we take it out and inspect it again. And then it goes to shipping wherever it's going to go in the world.
Okay, we'd like to say thank you so much, Diane. Everybody, make some noise for Diane.